twice. I've left this industry twice. The first time because I thought I needed a, quote, normal life. The second time was, frankly, I was kind of breaking down and didn't know how to ask for help. And both times, I thought the problem was the job, the people, the pressure, the hours. And some of that was true. But the leaving never fixed me because I wasn't burned out by the work. I was burned out by me. This episode isn't a resignation letter. I'm not putting in my 2-week notice. I'm here. But this is more of a recovery story. Not from sports, but from perfection, from people pleasing, and chasing validation in every bit of work that I pushed out. So if you've ever thought, maybe I just need out, I get it. I've lived it. But the real fix is when I started learning I needed to figure out what I was without the work. So let's talk about it. Welcome back to Sports Creatives Anonymous, the group therapy session you didn't know you needed. I'm your host, Clayton Jones. This episode 6, it's a vulnerable one. We're going to talk about leaving the sports creative industry, not once, but twice. And what those exits taught me, not just about the job, but more so about myself. All right, let's take you all the way back to the start of my professional journey where I didn't start with a camera, Photoshop, and all that stuff. I actually started as a sports writer at a newspaper, and I created with words, right? I did some graphic design, and then eventually I did pick up a camera a few years in, and for about those last 6-7 years in the industry, I was in it for about 10, I was taking my own photos and really learned how to use a camera and grow. So that was a great opportunity for me. But I saw where the newspaper industry was going. Staffs were shrinking. We had tighter budgets. Raises weren't happening very much. And honestly, I wanted to create more. I didn't want to just be stuck to the structure of a newspaper. And so I decided to pivot. So in 2015 is when I decided to make the jump to collegiate athletic communications. And I took a job in Dodge City, Kansas, working for Dodge City Community College. And while it doesn't sound glorious, it was honestly the best thing for me. I was able to just sit and concentrate and work on the craft and figure everything out. Figure out how to run stats, figure out how to run the back end of a sidearm website, figure out how to do broadcasts, just all these things that fell under my umbrella that honestly I had no idea how to do. I had to just figure out, late nights in the office and just trial and error. And it was the best thing for me. But that job I actually only had for a year until I got the opportunity to work at a Division I school. And I took a job at the University of New Mexico, where I definitely felt in over my head since I was only about a year into the business. I was very lucky to have a great boss, Frank Mercogliano, and he really took me under his wing and kind of showed me the ropes with a lot of the different things. I was able to kind of learn and kind of just shadow and just see how everything worked at a Division I athletic department. He's actually still there now. It was a great opportunity where at the D1 level, I only had 3 sports responsibilities, but I was doing a lot of game notes, website, doing some of the social media, but the creativity was a lot less because obviously we had marketing people, we had video people, and I just really wasn't feeling it. And after a few years, I thought, well, maybe just a change of scenery might be the issue. So I ended up landing a job in Malibu at Pepperdine, and I thought, man, maybe this is the fix I need. The beach, the creativity, the just more easygoingness maybe of everything. But I realized that the D1 level, no matter kind of where you went, you were kind of pigeonholed into the certain things that you had to do, your game notes, your website previews, your all the tedious things. And I just didn't feel that creative juice being able to be like, that itch wasn't scratched. So I knew I was still struggling. And there was just things going on. And I thought I wanted the prestige of everything. I thought I wanted this bigger platform to work at the Division I level. But honestly, I lost control of my time, my schedule, and myself. I burned out quietly. I kind of hit it all, didn't really tell anybody. I didn't hate the work, but I was convinced that maybe a, quote, normal job, a 9 to 5 would be better for me so I could have some weekends, have some structure and all that stuff. So I left and went back to New Mexico where I became the marketing director for a nonprofit animal humane society. And I loved the mission. I loved the people there. Getting to take your breaks and walk a dog. And we were a no kill shelter. So it was this sense of, you know, saving these animals and being able to bring them to new families and safer places. It made you feel great. But in the big picture of things, that 9 to 5, I was doing a lot of clock watching. I would get everything done for the day, and then I'd be around 1 or 2 o'clock, and I'd just be staring at the thing and have to sit there until 5. And I was going crazy. And it just wasn't a fit for me. I missed the chaos of athletics. I missed the creativity. I just missed being in sports. But then my chance came to return to sports. I was still working in Albuquerque, and I got a call that New Mexico Highlands, just about an hour and a half up the road in Las Vegas, New Mexico, was hiring. And I just missed sports. I missed being in it, missed being around it. And so I gave them a number that I thought, you know, this is what I need to leave this job and move forward. And they accepted it. So I was suddenly back in it. I was at my own shop, had my own pace. I was able to create at such a bigger level. And it really helped me see that maybe the Division II level is where I want to be. And after that first year, my daughter was playing soccer at Colorado Mesa, and I had the opportunity to take over the Western Colorado Athletic Communications Department, which is about 2 hours away. So it was a great opportunity, and I hopped on that and went to Western Colorado, and it was great. I was able to, again, really learn. It's where I really started picking up video, take over a communications department, and run with it, make it my own. And it was intoxicating, and I think I was so enamored by it, I just got lost in it. But I still hadn't learned to set boundaries. I felt like I had something to prove still, to prove to everybody that I was good at what I did, that I needed to please everybody, be everything to everyone, not say no. And I just wrapped, more than tied, I think I wrapped my value as a human and as a person into my work. And I think I'm not going to say I know it hurt some of my personal relationships. And it was this thing where I was great at what I did. I really enjoyed the people I worked with, and the job itself, the area itself, it was a perfect fit. But just inside, I was falling apart. Like, I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know how to fix it. And eventually I left. I quit the business again. So I sold pretty much everything that I didn't need and decided to hit the road and traveled the Southwest down through Texas and the South. Eventually did a marathon in Nashville, made it up to Ohio to see some family. And that's when I found out my dad was having some life-threatening health issues, but he lives by himself and he's going to need a little help. My sisters live just far enough away where it's really hard for them. So I said, I'll go back. I have nothing tying me anywhere. I was doing this contract job. Everything will be fine. So I went back to Oregon, and I realized I want to be here, or at least I thought, man, I could stay here again. I miss being here. I hadn't been there in 17 years or lived there in 17 years. And I thought, this is a place I could be. So I started applying for jobs, just looking for something local, stable, maybe just start the next chapters, maybe really actually start figuring it out myself. But there was a job on an island that was available, and I thought, maybe I'll go be an island guy the rest of my life and just spend the final 40 years there. I was offered the job, but we just couldn't meet financially. And I thought, okay, well, I guess it was just not meant to be for me to be back in sports. So I was a finalist for a couple other gigs that I was interested in. And then I got a call that Western Oregon was looking for somebody, and that the AD would be wanting to meet with me because I just happened to be in the area and had kind of heard my credentials and everything else. So I went and met with them, had a great conversation. It was a one-person shop, so I was a little worried about that in terms of, boy, this is ripe for me to get burnt out. And found out that I didn't have to worry about the broadcast side of things. And that was a game changer. And so I took the job. And here I am at year 4 at Western. But the fix didn't come with me enjoying this job, having the creative flexibility, or even being back in Oregon. I had to hit a rock bottom with my mental health to finally admit that I needed help. And that was tough. It was a very difficult time for me. And I knew I needed to do something to better myself and to find out what the fuck is going on. And yeah, this is probably the hardest part to talk about because I haven't really admitted to too many people about what the true change came. And yeah, the diagnosis I had, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and ADHD, all within about a couple weeks time span. So yeah, been raw dogging life for about 40 years with those two things. And realizing that that was probably a lot of the cause of my issues and not understanding the things that came with those diagnoses and realizing that I needed to give myself grace. But now as I sit here in my 40s, I know how I operate best, or I'm at least getting a better idea. It's with the therapy, it's with medication. And it honestly is just taking a long, hard look at myself and accepting responsibility and accepting the things I can and can't change and giving myself grace. And that's been a life changer for me. So I say all of this just to maybe give, hopefully, even just one person or whoever that maybe if you're thinking about quitting this business or doing something else, I guess take a look at yourself and what you really want to accomplish with your job and in life, and what's the most important thing to you. Here's some of the things that I've learned, through my time. D1 isn't always better or better paid. I actually get paid way more at the Division II level right now. I knew I needed the creative freedom to thrive for myself. One for everybody. Boundaries definitely aren't optional. You need to set those boundaries. You need to say no. You need to get off your email. Do those things. You will live a much happier life. A big one that I've learned is that I don't need everyone to like me. I need to quit people pleasing because I'm not myself. I am being somebody else instead of being myself and that goes back to those boundaries, right? I need to set those boundaries. And if someone doesn't like me because of that, well, who cares? Because the only people I really care that what they think about me are those close to me. Another thing is that, and this is nothing against anybody, but I don't need to be close friends or be close with those that I work with. In fact, I found it a little bit freeing not being and just having a work relationship and having a positive one, and that's it, and not worrying about anything external, and you could just kind of focus it on work. One for me that I'm still definitely working on, but I'm a lot more conscious of it, is that I am not my job. I am not my work. It's just what I do. Who I am as a person is not defined by me being a sports creative. I know I'm doing this for a podcast. I have a side business while I'm doing this. I do it for a living. I really enjoy it, but it's not who I am as a person. And the ups and downs that come with those things, I need to not let affect me in my own life. And maybe the biggest one that I've learned and that hopefully others can maybe learn from as well is that leaving the business isn't what fixed me. It was learning about myself that did. So if you're wrestling with whether you want to leave the business, ask yourself this. Are you actually done with the work, or are you done with who you have to become to survive that work? You can love this field and still need to take a step back. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. But don't wait as long as I did to figure yourself out. Maybe a little less than the 2 decades it did for me working professionally. You deserve a version of this job that works for you, not against you. Thanks again for listening to Sports Creatives Anonymous. You can find me at Sports Creatives Anonymous on social media, or you can email me at sportscreativesanonymous@gmail.com. Maybe hit me a comment or send me something that you've learned about yourself through this work and being in this business. And if you're still trying to figure that thing out, that's okay because you're not alone. We'll see you next week.